Morning class, Mr. Gutierrez. As I mentioned earlier in the week, the last email you received, I mentioned that I was going to be posting a video here, giving you guys some details on the signature assignment, and most importantly, getting you guys caught up, giving you some information about the previous assignments that you might not have understood. Maybe I was not clear enough over email, but that's just what comes with these online courses. When you take an online class, you're going to see over time that there's going to be some classes that are a lot easier to understand. And there's going to be some that you're going to have a hard time with. It's similar to even being in class. There's times where you go to a classroom and you're sitting there for 3-4 hours and you leave there not understanding some of the material. It's the same thing with an online course, but we try our best by sending emails and communicating as best as we can. Also, make sure you guys understand that you guys have the ability to email each other. Okay, you guys see multiple emails in the attachments that I send out, group emails. Feel free to email each other and ask each other questions, because most of the time others have the same questions, or they already have their assignments completed, so they can help you out and stuff like that. But I'm going to clarify some of the questions that I've gotten over email or over text message from some of the students. The first thing, the rubric development. The rubric assignment technically is for this Saturday coming up. Okay, so in a couple of days, most of you guys will be working on the rubrics. The questions were, is there a minimum in how long these rubrics have to be? All I'm looking for is 3 rubrics. A rubric for an essay. So most of you guys teach in a classroom setting now. If you don't teach in a classroom setting, then you have some research to do online to see what a rubric looks like for an essay question. How are you going to grade your students? Pretty much what it's looking for there. I don't care if it's a 2-page rubric or if it's a half-page rubric. All I care about is that this is something that you would be using in your classroom. The other rubric that I'm looking for is for an in-class assignment. Most of you guys have given plenty of in-class assignments now. You might not be creating a rubric for every in-class assignment, but if you have one that you use for multiple in-class assignments, that would be very useful for you in your classroom. Just in case you have that student that comes in and says, how did you grade me? You go off one rubric and you constantly can use that. So create an in-class assignment rubric and also turn that in. That's the third one I had to edit, because the third one, as you see in the syllabus, it says have your students create one in your classroom, or someone that teaches in your field of study. Maybe you get together with somebody else and create one. But I changed it up, and that would be more for an in-class DSE 415 class. And this online one, all I want you to do is I want you to create one for a project. So most of you guys have in-class projects, or you have, if it's a construction class, if it's a nursery class, nursing class, or most of you guys have projects to complete. So I would like you to create a rubric for a project. Okay, so that would be your third one. I will attach a few examples of rubrics that I've had from previous students and for myself, because I took the same class that you guys are taking now. But you guys all should be creating your own and basing it off what you do in your classroom. Okay, so I will be doing that to answer your questions on the rubrics part. The next part, your assessments. Most of you guys didn't have any questions with the assessments, except I think 1 or 2 just weren't sure about formative, summative. Okay, summative assessment would be something you do at the end of the unit, at the end of class, after you cover everything. You sum it all up and you assess the students from all the material you covered. Formative would be something you do throughout your lesson. Okay, so during class, during the unit, how do you assess your students during the unit? So create one for each, whether it's a pop quiz type thing, whether it's a multiple choice, true, false, fill in essay questions, whatever you would do in your classroom. Please go off of that. Okay. Instructional strategies assignment. Most of you guys did a good job with that, but just understand there's lots of instructional strategies, anywhere from lecture to direct instruction to effective questioning to jigsaw assignments to targeted feedback, Socratic seminar, reciprocal teaching. There's read alouds. There's lots of them that you can find online, and you can base your instruction. There are 3 instructional strategies that you're required to use, and you can find plenty of them online. So identify those 3 strategies and explain how they would be used in your classroom. Okay, so that would be a separate document there, and pick out the 3 strategies and explain how you would use those in your classroom. Okay, the lesson plan is very important because that's something you're going to have to use throughout your teaching career. Okay, it doesn't mean